I am really excited about this project today. We've got an old concrete mold and some mortar mix. This is rapid set. It's supposed to set in about an hour. We're gonna see what we can do with it.
We sell these at JamiRayVintageHome.com. They sell out really fast and people keep asking us, can you actually use them for cement? We're about to find out.
We'll let you know. You guys are gonna experiment with us. All right, so I've been doing a little bit of research, and one of the things you can use for a mold release is just petroleum jelly. I've got a big tub of it here, picked it up at Walgreens this morning, and I'm just going to put a healthy application of it on with one of our stencil brushes because it's nice and stiff and it's gonna get in all the little creases and cracks.
You can pick up these stencil brushes at JamiRayVintage.com. They work great for stencils, but they're also really good for waxing, or in this case, putting Vaseline on a cement mold. To clean them after you've used them for wax or Vaseline, make sure you use warm water and dish soap to take off the initial grease. I like to use a charcoal soap made by Paint Pixie that we also carry on our website.
The mold's completely covered with the petroleum jelly. I made sure to cover all the sides and anywhere that the concrete mixture might touch. Anytime you're using something that's powdered or has dust, it's not a bad idea to use a respirator or at least a dust mask to keep that out of your lungs. I measured the volume of the mold with sand when I was getting ready to do this experiment. I have a general idea of how much concrete the mold's gonna take. I'm trying not to mix up too much more, but I wanna make sure that I have enough so that when I go to do it, it's all one solid pour. When you're mixing up concrete, you don't want it to be too wet because that can weaken it, but you also don't want it to be too dry because if it's too dry, then it's gonna start crumbling on you.
So it looks like it's nice and moistened.
Yeah, it's well moisturized.
I need to put some all over my hands. Too much hand sanitizer. All right, so you're gonna do it, and then what am I doing?
You make sure it gets where it goes. Can you?
Gets where it goes, or where it's supposed to go? Like that?
Yep, I just don't want to like dump it and have it come all over the sides.
So what, this is the mortar that we're gonna be using to fix the fireplace?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't reach my arm in the hole. There, I think we're good. This is like when you make frosting and this sugar, you're gonna get cement in your armpit. The sugar doesn't like dissolve. What's the texture?
So I was thinking it might be fun to try DIY paint to dye the concrete at some point too.
With the pigment.
Because it's clay-based, so
you know what? It actually be better with milk paint.
Maybe.
Because it's just like the pigment form. It's almost like raw pigment.
I probably should have Vaseline the top too. Now we're gonna have to get that off.
Well, we'll just use like a wet paper towel. Oh,
here.
I'm getting out of the way. You forget, I'm not familiar with this technique.
My first time too.
It's not in my well house.
Wheelhouse.
Wheelhouse.
There's no such thing.
Circle the horses.
Circle the horses.
Let me get some paper towel. Or do you want me to just get a damp rag?
Damp rag. Okay, so we've got it in the mold here. I'm just gonna give it some good shakes to try to get any bubbles that might be in there and get it nice and saturated through so we don't have a bunch of pockets where there's not concrete. I got all the bubbles out, at least as many as I think I can get. I saw a couple come up to the surface and pop. It takes about an hour for the rapid set to set up instead of 24 hours like traditional concrete. So we'll come back in about an hour and see how this is doing. Now.
So how is this coming out, Zeb? It looks like we've made
We're gonna flip it and dump it, and we're gonna hopefully not break it at the same time. Let's see. I'm sure there's a better method, but I haven't seen one or found one online. So It's been in there for an hour. I'm hoping that the petroleum jelly did its job. Just gonna give it a little whack. Ooh, it's almost bending the table. It's so heavy.
I don't think that's coming out.
In retrospect, I think I may have overfilled it too.
In retrospect, I think it's now just solid.
It's now just a solid thing.
This is like when you make a pound cake and you didn't grease it enough, because that's not...
You get like half of it out and half of it still in.
That's not coming out. I don't know why you think it is. It's like cemented in there. You can tell from over here.
I didn't Vaseline that spot.
Well, give me like a knife or something.
I don't think a knife is gonna do it. It's in there.
I hope you screwed that up.
I may have.
Did you Google it?
Yeah, I Googled it a lot. All right. All right, even if it breaks all up, I'm gonna get it out of there. I think the concrete might work a little better though.
What is a concrete mold? Oh, it's coming.
It's coming, but I think I broke it in half.
That's all right, just keep getting that sucker out of there. You need to hit it harder.
Oh, it's all in little pieces. So I think the reason this is having this issue is because I filled it too full.
Or you didn't put enough glue on it, or Vaseline.
Not enough Vaseline.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming out.
It's coming. Maybe we can glue it back together.
We're gonna glue it together. That's what we're gonna do.
It's coming. Hold on. You know why? It's because I went around the edge with this.
That's why. Here, let me see that again.
You know, oh ye of little faith.
Oh, it's all broken.
It's fine. We're going to put it on something.
A little bit of glue and it'll be all right.
We'll mount it on a board.
Maybe I left it in there too long.
Oh, here we go.
Keep the pieces.
Keep the pieces. Hold on, it's like stuck. Oh, there's a piece. Let's try to make less pieces, but that's already broke right there. It's not gonna.
The Vaseline did not work. It is all dried up and gone. Like
I think it worked. Just didn't use it
no
enough.
Vaseline, like maybe a ton. I wonder if you could just spray it with like some Pam.
Just put some Pam on it.
Put some Pam on it and done.
That's alright. It gives it that authentic chippy look. There's still Vaseline. It's moist right there. Hold on. This piece.
It's not coming without this.
Oh. Okay. There's the middle. That's pretty.
Well, the mold is in good shape. The Vaseline protected the actual mold. Oh, yeah, it's still slick on the sides. We're gonna salvage this thing. Maybe.
Well, we don't have time to make another one. So
not right now.
If I was gonna redo it, I would use twice as much Vaseline and underfill the mold. And I think it would come out in one piece.
So I did some more research after this failed, and some people are saying vegetable oil is the best. Just brush it on with like a chip brush, and that works really well. Because the mortar mix is the proper thing to use. It's very, very good to use for this, but I think two things happened. I didn't let it dry quite long enough, and I overfilled it, and, well, three things. And we probably need to not use petroleum jelly and use a better mold release agent.
But now if you need a suppository, we're all good.
All right, so they do make a special glue for like cement and concrete and things like that, plaster. But we're using construction adhesive because I looked and it says it'll do it. Ceramic, stone, concrete, marble, wood flooring, masonry, brick. So, you know, we're good to go with this Gorilla construction adhesive.
I feel like it's the duct tape of the glue world.
It is.
They actually make a Gorilla duct tape, which is pretty fantastic. All right, here you go. Might want to wipe it off as much as possible so it looks correct when we paint it. The next step is I'm going to be using DIY paint in Farm Fresh. I think this is a really great option because it's clay based, so it will really play well with this mortar. You could probably use milk paint too, but the nice thing about this is that it is thick and you can shove it down in all the cracks. That's my secret. Once we get this all painted, we're going to hit it up with some white wax to give it some depth. And I don't think it needs to be like perfectly painted. You could even use salt wash on this. I think it would work really well.
A salt wash would be cool, and it would hide all the cracks really well too. I've got some DIY letterpress gray, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of it. We're gonna mix up a little bit of salt wash. You can see the clay paint has already filled in a lot of those cracks, and we're just gonna kind of give it a little variation in tone here.
It will eventually, the DIY paint will kind of...
It'll dry out and settle down.
Yeah. Just...
Here, right here, we need a good glob.
Did I get it?
No more. Oh, that's a lot. Too much. Too much.
Too much. All right, so next step, DIY white wax. For all of you that have watched my channel, I know you're shocked that I'm bringing out the white wax, but it's one of my favorites, and we might come back and add some dark wax or maybe some...
We're gonna build some layers up.
Decrepit dust, but really, when you're doing faux finishes, it's like slap everything you own on it, and then buff it, and then watch the magic. And I'm just using one of our stencil brushes because I thought it'd be easier to get it into all the nooks and crannies. But Zeb, you want to go grab a big brush and you can do the flat surfaces?
Yeah, but I wanted to show them this real quick. It's been sitting in the sun for about an hour and a half. That Gorilla Glue is sticking really, really well. This thing's not coming off of there, and you can't hardly even tell that the concrete has cracks in it.
I really want to sell these on the website, but I don't know how they're going to ship. So we are going to send this to Zeb's mom.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom.
If it makes it to Alabama, then we'll know that it's okay.
Cross your fingers it makes it, because these are cool, and we'll get other designs, and
Yeah.
I'll figure out how to get them out without cracking them eventually.
You know, there might be a little crack involved. It's what makes them unique.
I just got a damp cloth, and I'm bringing some of this wax back before it gets too dry and we can't control it very much.
Well, you can also always come back with this like sandpaper, which I might do, and then clear wax it.
And when we hit it with the buffer, it's gonna pull some of this wax out of here too, because we'll buff it before it's cured up.
Now that I've used a damp rag to kind of pull back some of the wax, I'm gonna hit it up with some sandpaper just to kind of knock down some of the sharp edges. But you can see that it's already starting to look like old patinaed stone, and all the grays and the blues and everything's just kind of coming together. And even the cracks look good. It's like we meant to.
It's on purpose.
It's intentional crack. We had intent to crack. All right, it's time to sprinkle some magic dust, otherwise known as decrepit dust. I always like to do this when I've already waxed something, because if you don't, it gets a little bit crazy. And I don't use a ton. Like, one little container is all I've ever opened for every project I've ever used it on. You don't need a lot. Okay, I'm just gonna come back with the brush that I was already using, and I'm just gonna work this decrepit dust down into all the cracks.
Now it looks like it's been outside for 100 years.
That's right. We make new stuff look old again.
It's the rules.
It's the rules.
New stuff has to look old.
That's right. This is a lot softer than if you were to use like a dark wax. It's not quite as dirty, I guess. So if you don't like this look and you like this look better, then just stop at the white wax. If you like it to look a little bit more aged, go ahead and use the dark and decrepit. And the nice thing is, because we have the white wax underneath, it actually lightens up that dark, so it's not like a super dark brown. If you use clear wax, then the dust would look darker. Now that I've got this on here, the decrepit dust is worked in. You could wait overnight, but I'm gonna go ahead and just buff it so we can finish the video. I'm using my buff. This also comes in a smaller buffy, which would definitely work for this size project. All this does is buff that wax, and you can kind of see it just polishes the clay. If you let this sit overnight and come back and polish it, you can almost add a little bit of a sheen, but I don't want this to shine, so I'm just gonna buff it so there's no excess wax. All right, so can you use an antique cement mold and make something?
We failed a little bit, but at the end I think we won. Like, it turned out really cool, and we probably would have glued it onto something anyway, because it was a little bit fragile how it is without being attached to something.
It's also very heavy, which is why my arm is like...
So it actually weighs about 30 pounds with the wood and the concrete.
And the fact that it was cracked kind of lends to the authentic nature. The salt wash mixed with the clay paint hides most of the cracks. They're just almost like surface cracks now. I mean, they're not like all the way through. In fact, there's like a hole that was here, and I just shoved paint in it.
Yeah, just fill it up.
It's no problem. It's done. If you guys want to buy the paint and products used today, make sure you hit up JamiRayVintage.com. If you want a cement mold, you have to be fast. Head over to JamiRayVintageHome.com. We usually get a shipment every week, and as soon as we post them, they sell out. I think we have one large one left, but don't despair because I have a pallet coming next week, and I'll let you guys know when it's ready. Thank you guys for the ideas. Comment below with something else that you'd like to see us try. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY. I'll eventually get it dialed in. Maybe I'll try like a different mortar or something.